We are back with Karen Wharton, Allison Skeete, and Dr. Terrence Blackman, who are here this evening to talk to us about UG visit to New York. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to CWS As It Is.
Thank you.
Well, all of you have been here before, so.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I'm actually in the dark here as to the visit and the purpose of the visit, so I am going to need you guys to tell us why UG is here, and then we can have a conversation surrounding it. What is this all about? You want to go first, Allison?
Good evening. UG recently acquired a new Vice Chancellor and Principal, who is Dr. Ivlaw Lloyd Griffith. We bring you greetings on his behalf. His visit to New York is in collaboration with the Guyana Cultural Association. He has a new vision for rebuilding the University of Guyana to the highest standards for the nation's National Institute of Education. And he's bringing with him a contingent of staff who will be interacting with the Guyanese throughout this week, which the Guyana Folk Festival will be hosting its cultural events at. So we'll be interacting with them. They will be recruiting supporters and people who are interested in the rebuilding of this institute that was once highly regarded in the South American and the Caribbean community. That's the purpose of his visit, and we're hoping to be able to assist in recruiting not just supporters, but volunteers who would take some time to go to Guyana, see what's needed, and see where they can help in rebuilding a nation. Because to get to where we want to be with the new government, we need strong support, and we need that to come from within, and it's got to come from our nationals who are there. And without education, that cannot happen.
Karen, you want to add anything?
Allison pretty much said it all. This is another opportunity for the university to engage the diaspora. As you know, there was a conference in June held in Guyana. The conference was basically there were participants from the diaspora as well as in Guyana, and we talked and you talked about how together we can rebuild the university and subsequently Guyana. So this is an event or a weekend here in New York to engage the diaspora, those of us who were unable to go to Guyana, right, and who want to be a part of the rebuilding. Because really, as I said, this is ultimately about rebuilding Guyana. And there are certain skills and knowledge that would be required. And how do you acquire those skills and knowledge? But through some kind of educational institution. And given that the university is the premier tertiary institution in Guyana, it is very vital and quite instrumental in any vision one can have in rebuilding Guyana. So where this weekend is basically to engage the diaspora in more meaningful ways. And as Allison mentioned, not just alumni, but friends and supporters, even non-Guyanese. We are not biased at all and are not discriminating. We're looking for people with skill sets, particular skills, and as well as financial resources that can be brought to bear.
Dr. Blackman?
Yes, so again, good afternoon to you and your listeners. Good afternoon to Karen and to Allison. And as always, it's a pleasure. And I always say it, but I should always say it. I think we here in New York City very much appreciate the work that you do so in your role as a kind of a voice of our community. So good afternoon to all. I think Allison had it right when she identified that we, in some sense, we bring greetings on behalf of Professor Griffith. And the point is that Professor Griffith is bringing a 12-member team from UG. I think the number might be a little larger now, maybe, but initially conceived a 12-member team from UG to New York for the Labor Day weekend for a set of fundraising, and as Karen nicely pointed out, not only fundraising, but friend-raising activities. And he sort of dubbed it the kind of University of Guyana Renaissance weekend in New York. And in addition to sort of raising funds, he'd like to leverage the time and the talent and the treasure of Guyanese and non-Guyanese professionals in the tri-state area to help to tangibly address some of the critical needs of the University of Guyana. While they're here, they're focusing on the health sciences, technology, the natural sciences, and law. And the dean of faculties will be among the 12 who are going to visit with us. So one of the I'm assuming that Allison and Karen will also detail the Vice Chancellor's agenda, but one of the items that I am particularly pleased about is that the Faculty of Natural Sciences will visit us in the School of Science at Medgar Evers College, and we will have some opportunities to mobilize some international and intercultural resources here in the Brooklyn area to think about ways in which we can meaningfully, to use Karen's word, interface with the folks at the University of Guyana. And I think this is a really a wonderful initiative on the part of the Vice Chancellor's office and on the part of the University of Guyana. And I think I look forward to robust participation of Guyanese and non-Guyanese alike in this Renaissance weekend, Renaissance Labor Day weekend.
Dr. Blackman, what are some benefits you see from this initiative for the University of Guyana and
Well, as Karen noted, so a couple of things have happened since the Vice Chancellor took office. There was a university town meeting, I think in June, maybe mid-June, just very shortly after he joined the university. And then there was a subsequent sort of Father's Day brunch, which was kind of aimed at improving kind of staff and morale. And there was sort of a very successful visit that we were part of the first kind of education resource and value conference, which kind of had Guyanese both in Guyana and from the diaspora, who kind of went to Turkine and went to Tain and kind of examined the conditions of the university and met and worked to talk about how to help the rebuilding that was required and also raise some money in actual donations and some pledges. So in some sense, this visit is a continuation of these existing efforts aimed at thinking through how do we rebuild or how do we participate in rebuilding the university, not just at the level of its physical infrastructure that certainly requires rebuilding, but also at the level of its programmatic and intellectual infrastructure. So the conversations that the team will have in law and in science will focus around ways in which institutions and individuals who are part of institutions here in the United States with particular expertise can begin to, establish parameters for meaningfully engaging in the efforts that are already on the way at the University of Guyana. So certainly at Medgar Evers, we're going to talk about, since the faculties for biology and chemistry and mathematics, I think will be here. We will talk about ways in which we can have, we also expect some students, or at least one student from the University of Guyana. So we're going to talk about what are some student needs, what are some faculty needs, what are some programmatic needs What are ways in which Medgar Evers can benefit, Medgar Evers College can benefit, the faculty at Medgar Evers College, the students at Medgar Evers, and in a similar manner, what are the ways in which students at the University of Guyana, the faculty at the University of Guyana, the institution of the University of Guyana, and more broadly, Guyanese, not only in Guyana, but in the diaspora, can benefit from institutional relationships between universities in Guyana and in New York.
You know, before we I bring Karen and Allison on to speak about, to give us some more details about the visit, I want to talk to you some more about that, Dr. Blackman, about the importance of linkages and pipelines. And obviously you have articulated some of the, because of the linkage between, of establishing the linkage between University of Guyana and Medgar Evers University, some of the benefits that can result from that. Is this going to be a trend? I mean, it's obvious it's very beneficial to the University of Guyana. As you said, we are looking to rebuild not just the physical university, but other aspects of it programmatically and so on. But do you see this as a trend that's going to evolve out of this connection with Medgar Evers?
Yes, absolutely. What we see quite clearly is that Medgar Evers Medgar Evers is part of the City University of New York. It's located in Crown Heights in Brooklyn, which is a predominantly Caribbean community. So not only are we thinking about linkages between the University of Guyana and Medgar Evers College, but we're understanding very clearly that the University of Guyana exists not as an entity independent and unto itself. It's a part of Guyana. It's a part of Guyana is a part of the Caribbean. Caribbean is a part of the wider world, and certainly our expectation is that this provides us with a way of providing the infrastructure for the University of Guyana to play its rightful role, not only in the Guyanese context, but in the global context. And so, we don't see this as simply. We see this as the first step in a very large journey that links the University of Guyana and Guyana in some formal way to the Medgar Evers College, but Medgar Evers College is part of the City of New York, and so more broadly to the City of New York and to the United States and to the global institutional educational infrastructure. So we see this crucial to the development of the country in the 21st century.
Thank you. And to you, Karen, this whole initiative, the visit to New York, how did this all come about, and why do you think that Professor Griffith, who's we all can agree is a visionary, why did you think he agreed to this?
Well, it's an excellent opportunity to create those linkages that Amega mentioned. Again, University of Guyana is not an island unto itself. And if you've been reading the Guyana newspapers, my understanding, what I've read is that I believe it was the University of Texas had an exchange program with University of Guyana earlier this summer, where students from the University of Guyana went to Texas to learn about, petroleum engineering, right? And the students in Texas, University of Texas, went to Guyana to learn more about sustainability and biology, like botany, those kinds of things, right? We are living in a global world, right? And universities traditionally do have relationships amongst themselves, right? You can go to University X and there's an exchange program in some far-flung place in the world, right? So why not the University of Guyana? So I believe that we're not developing these relationships for the sake of having a relationship, but to the extent that there are certain skills that are required, and those skills can be brought into Guyana through another entity, right? It makes absolute sense for one to pursue that. Of course, Professor Griffith is doing exactly what someone in his position would do. Take advantages of relationships that currently exist and seek relationships that don't, and seek to develop relationships that don't currently exist. So I expect for him to speak with institutions, Medgar Evers, as well as others, right? And in terms of sheer numbers, coming back to a point that was made earlier, Guyana, the last census had, I believe, like about 700,000 people living in Guyana. My understanding is that there are like about 400,000 Guyanese living in the United States, of which over 200,000 are living in the tri-state area, right? So 200 is about, my math, right? A little bit, let's ask a mathematician, right? You're talking about a third, right? A little bit less. So, I think that New York, the tri-state area, is what is it, the 11th region, right? So it makes absolute sense for Dr. Griffith to reach out to this area for financial and other support, right? What do you think?
I agree. I agree with his approach. It is to the university's advantage that he also has the experience and the integrity in his own background in teaching and his global awareness and exposure. So he can strategically determine what would be a best fit. And I see him doing that. It's also beneficial when you look at the numbers, going back to the numbers again. 49% of Guyanese living in the country now are age 24 and under. This is where our future lies. These are the people that we have to train to become our leaders in the future. So programs that are being offered, or connections like those with Dr. Blackman, are very much at the forefront of Dr. Griffith's initiative and his thought process. If we don't take advantage of that, and we have of the 200,000 Guyanese living in this tri-state area, we have a majority of them with a vested interest in doing something to return the education system and to see the benefit that's going to make the changes we need with the leadership that has to come when we are no longer here.
And, Allison and Dr. Blackman, as well as Sowan, I think that when someone mentioned earlier that Dr. Griffith is coming here with a contingent, right, with the deans of various faculties, right? I think this is exactly what should be happening, right? I'm here in my profession. We all have our professions here in the U.S. And we are afforded opportunities to interact with people who are in our fields, right? Who have similar concerns, that share our concerns, share our ambition, share our drive in terms of building whatever industry we're in, right? So I think in terms of when you look at what he's doing in bringing deans, right, and bringing strategic individuals here, right, to interact, not to, with necessarily, to go to Kwekwe and, even though we are going to go to Kwekwe because it is vital, but to meet with to have conversations with people at Medgar Evers around natural science, around law. So we're looking at what should be happening on a regular basis, where professionals are receiving some professional development, right? So I think I am 100% on board if you have any doubt, right, with this approach. And I think, and I'm very supportive of it. And I would like to see more of it done at the university, in high schools, in other spheres, in Guyana where people are able to meet with others in their industry and exchange ideas, brainstorm, and then you go back with some of the knowledge gained and help to build upon what you already have.
He's actually coming with 14 faculty members, and not all of them are Guyanese. There are members who have worked throughout the Caribbean at other universities, and they too are sharing in his interest in this initiative.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, if I was going to interject something, I wanted to kind of reiterate the point that Karen Wharton just made. I think it's really vitally important. I think this is part of the particular skill set and particular understanding that Dr. Griffith brings to the University of Guyana, which is the understanding that kind of building competencies that sort of connect the local to the global, and cultivating a certain kind of critical thinking, learning, a kind of intercultural understanding from multiple perspectives. This is the kind of thing that serious international engagement requires.
Mm-hmm.
And Guyana is going to be, as Karen just rightly pointed out, if we are going to be a country to be reckoned with, if we're going to be, as the numbers, if we're going to be a place where, today almost 50% of our young people are, 50% of our population is under
24.
Under 24. If we're going to be a country of less than maybe 3/4 of a million on a massive landmass, then what is going to propel Guyana forward is its kind of intellectual weight and its intellectual heft in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so in order to do that, there's no substitute for the engagement of the university in the world. I think it's, this is really an important idea. It's this sort of internationalization of the university that will propel the Guyanese leadership, the emerging Guyanese leadership, to really move our country forward. And I wanted to kind of really emphasize the importance of that.
Mm-hmm. And I think that these kinds of experiences, right, should be shared frankly even in high schools, right? But we must start someplace, right? And so this is a good place for us to begin, right? I live in Brooklyn. I've been in the U.S. for 35 years or thereabout. I probably will not live permanently in Guyana, right? However, Guyana is not that far from Brooklyn, right? It probably will take me less time to get to Guyana than it would take me to get to California, right? So even those of us who are here, right, we can contribute. And I know we've spoken about this before. Technology is such that we don't have to be there to contribute, right? But relationships are important, right? In order for these kinds of distance exchanges to work and to work efficiently, you have to have a certain kind of relationship, a baseline. Here is an opportunity for the folks in Guyana and the university to come up here and meet with us, right, and people like us, and people who are not like us, right, who have an interest in Guyana, moving Guyana forward. As I said earlier, we are speaking about University of Guyana, right? But what we really are talking about is the country of Guyana and the people in Guyana. So I would like to invite everyone to come to our events, come meet the Vice Chancellor, meet the team that he's brought up, right? Listen to what everyone has to say, contribute in a productive way, right? And help us go forward.
And this is a question I'm going to pose to you, Dr. Blackman, first. While we were in Guyana, and a very important point came up from one of the ambassadors of Guyana, that the University of Guyana and its problems, just a microcosm of the larger problems that exist in Guyana itself. What what can Guyana, what can the University of Guyana teach teach Guyana of itself? If the University of Guyana, or when rather, the University of Guyana gets all its ducks in order and things are put in place, the university is transformed. And I say transformed because all of us here were there, we visited the campuses and so on, and we have seen the degradation and disrepair, and Professor Griffith is really committed to transforming this university physically and so on. What can the University of Guyana teach the country at large, Dr. Blackman? Start with you first.
So I'll answer, but I also wanted to say one last thing about so this model of kind of reaching out to your diaspora, and it's not something that is unique to Guyana. It's just we're just doing it now. I'm reminded that there is a German academic international network. Yes, the country of Germany, a very serious country, has an academic international network. And so if you're a German scholar or a scientist working in America, there is a place where they get kept up to date with work that is going on in Germany, and they're able to keep the Germans up to date with the work that is happening in the United States. This helps with, kind of playing a role and this will lead you to what playing a role in Germans, in debates in Germany around, how to keep Germany competitive, how to keep Europe competitive, what kinds of areas should be engaged in higher education, what kinds of research problems should folks in Germany, what kinds of science should, so it's not a completely far-up thought to understand the importance of a Guyanese academic international network. This is actually quite vital. And so in this respect, I want to again underscore the real seriousness of the vision of Dr. Griffith in this regard. Now to the second part of your question, which is, what can the University of Guyana teach Guyana as a country? And I think one very, very important thing, which is emerging from these efforts that we're engaged with, which is, I often think that a sort of culture is the way in which we solve our problems. And so I think the establishing of a culture of transparency, a culture where things get communicated, a culture that sort of speaks to how you do business, that establishes facts, that sort of says, what is the science behind? What are the problems we face? What is the science that will facilitate our solving those problems that we face? A culture which is reflexively inclusive. I think these are all the things that that ail the larger society. And I think that in creating a model where these things are the values of the institution, I think they present us with an opportunity for saying something to the larger country about how we might solve some of our problems, how we might change our culture to deal with the very real challenges that beset society at this moment. So it's this, I see that University of Guyana, under the leadership of Dr. Griffith and all of the parties, all of the stakeholders who are there. I mean, but I don't want to leave this that this is only Dr. Griffith. There are a number of very, very serious people who are part of the leadership of the University of Guyana, and a number of other stakeholders who are in Guyana. And they have decided to embark on a path that will create an institution, just a path that has to do with how we do business. We establish the facts, we provide opportunities for initiative, we empower people to do the things that are there to be done. We take responsibility, we clarify the roles for folks. I think this sort of way of doing business is the gift, so to speak, that the University of Guyana will, I feel, inevitably bestow on the larger culture, and I look forward to it.
Last question before we close off for the evening is, we know that the vice president, the vice chancellor, sorry,
we want to
Freudian slip there. The Vice Chancellor is coming up with a contingent, but where can people meet them?
Okay. So there are a number of events, right? Beginning on September 1st.
On September 1st, there's going to be a reception hosted by the Education Resource Ambassadors in New Jersey, in Irvington, New Jersey. It will introduce Dr. Griffith to supporters and interested parties who want to help his initiative in the New Jersey area. Ambassador Bernard Rollins has been very helpful in already beginning an initiative connecting the town of Linden with Newark. So we're using that and going forward where Dr. Griffith will be introduced to the groups interested out there. There are quite a few who have already made a commitment and will be presenting their methods of support that evening. On Friday evening, he will be in Brooklyn with his contingent at the Guyana Cultural Association Kwekwe Night, which is one of our cultural events that should not be missed at St. Stephen's Church on Newkirk Avenue. And on Friday also, he will be visiting with Dr. Blackman at Medgar Evers College and with Ambassador Leslie Stewart following Dr. Blackman's event at Medgar Evers, where he's going to be talking with Ambassador Stewart and his group regarding technology and engineering with the group that he's bringing as well. What else
And
does that
so to give some addresses, right? And contacts, if one is interested in attending the fundraiser in Newark, right? We can reach out to Allison, right? And the way to reach out to Allison is?
Where's the telephone number? Okay, you can email. Email is the best way, and Facebook. The email address would be allisonskeete@gmail.com.
Is that 2 L's, one?
All is on. ALLISON.
All is on. I like that.
ALLISONSKEETE@gmail.com.
And on Friday, the 2nd, at 11 a.m., the Diaspora Engagement Natural Sciences will be held at Medgar Evers College, School of Science, room L as in Larry, 08E, and that's on 1650 Bedford Avenue here in Brooklyn. Dress code is business. And following that at 1:30 p.m., there will be the Diaspora Support Engagement 2 in Technology. So that's architecture, civil engineering, electrical mechanical engineering. At the Independent United Order of Mechanics at 65 Putnam Avenue in Brooklyn. Kwekwe is at St. Stephen's Church, 2806 Newkirk Avenue. Will be held at 8 p.m. On Saturday at 1 p.m., it's the Diaspora Engagement in Law at AB1 Building, room L02, Medgar Evers again, 1650 Bedford Avenue. On Sunday, September 4th, at the Guyana Cultural Day, we will all be there, right? It's a family fun day, fun times for all. It will be held at the Old Boys School ground on Rutland
and Troy Avenue, starting at 12. We will be selling UG brand t-shirts to support this initiative. They will be $10, and they read some phrases that show your support for UG. I for UG, you for UG, we all for UG. They will be in the color of the school, yellow and green. So make sure you look for us. We will have 2 tables under a tent. Come by, support us. Even $1 will help us if you don't purchase a t-shirt, but we're encouraging you to purchase them.
There is also too a diaspora engagement in health sciences, dentistry, medicine, medical technology, nursing, pharmacy, public health. And that's being led by Dr. Candice Cummins at the Ebenezer Seventh-day Adventist Church, 10 a.m., Sunday, September 4th. The church is located at 1234 East New York Avenue in Brooklyn. Last but not least, there is a fundraiser in Queens being led by Dr. Dan Paul Narayan at the Sri Timuri Bhavan at 101-1897th Avenue in Ozone Park. So it's going to be action. Well, I don't want to say
Well-packed. It's a well-packed itinerary.
Yes.
Is there a place where someone can go and see this? Someone who probably didn't get to record everything. Is there somewhere they can go and see this list of the schedule of activities?
It is on Facebook. It will be on the Guyana Cultural Association page on Facebook. It will be on our individual pages also, as well as the Vice Chancellor's page and the I Love UG page.
It will also be on the University of Guyana.
On their page,
On their
yes.
page.
Awesome.
Okay. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you, Selwyn. And
Thank you, Ambassador Selwyn Collins. You are an ambassador under Dr. Griffin's leadership, just like we are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Allison, and Dr. Blackman as well.
Yes. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.